Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. 1.
What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Back with the Realeast, Gennady, and now guys, Gennady Golovkin versus Daniel Jacobs. Post-fight, I am still in New York, and I am loving life. So, as you guys know, on my official post-fight breakdowns, I give you guys the good, the bad, and the ugly. So let me start off by getting out the particulars. In this fight, I think both fighters fought valiantly. I think they both showed tremendous heart, and they pushed through it, and they pushed each other to the brink. So it was a fun fight, man. And I'm so glad. I've never been out to New York. This is my first trip to New York, despite a lot of people think I'm from out here or whatever, but this is my first time to New York, and I'm so glad I made the trek out here because I had a great time. I thought the main event and the co-main event were awesome. As far as the Carlos Cuadras fight and the Andy Lee, I expected a bit more, but hey, the main event and the co-main event delivered. Now, just to throw this out here, and I'm probably gonna get something to eat after this in New York because I got some good food and I'm hungry. But I thought Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, he won a tough fight. I had him winning, right? I didn't score it. This is just from watching it live and the eye test. I thought Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez beat Sor Rungvisai in a competitive fight, but he did face adversity with the cuts, and he was leaking with the blood. That seemed to really bother him, and I got a lot more to say on that fight, so we'll just keep it at that for this video, right? Main event, Golovkin versus Jacobs. Hell of a fight. Definitely a fight, probably in my opinion, one of the fights in recent pay-per-view memory that really delivered, right? A lot of people's perception was this and that, and oh, Danny Jacobs was gonna get bombed out in the second round. I was reading all kinds of predictions, right? And I didn't do a 7 reasons, and I have specific reasons why I didn't do the 7 reasons, but yet and still, I gave you my insight. I gave you my thoughts before the fight, right? So it's up to you guys to watch the channel, and you guys can put it all together. And a lot of what I said in those past videos was oh so true regarding this fight. And not even just since the fight has been signed. I've said similar things about Gennady Golovkin, and it's been months and years since that. And people, they criticized, they said I had something out against Golovkin, and this fight really proved a lot of those sentiments. So let me just talk about the fight. This is another fight where I did not score it. It's extremely hard live in the flesh to score it, do round by round tweeting like I do on my channel because this is a brand, and then also make a score. It's so much going on, but I have big eyes, and I have big eyes for a reason. So I pay attention, and like I'm watching the whole fight. So after doing this as long as I've been doing it, the scoring to the eye test is pretty easy. You could tabulate a scorecard in your head, and me personally, I had Daniel Jacobs winning. I thought he won. Now let me throw this out here. Some people are going to say, oh, but he was outlanded by Golovkin on the CompuBox. Listen, to me, CompuBox, that's nice, but that is an aid. That's not like to me, first of all, I don't even know who the person is. Like, how, I'm not gonna trust something I don't even know who's doing it. Who is CompuBox? Like that, like who is the person? Like, name the name of the person who's calculating what punches landed and what punches landed effectively. And I'm just telling you just now how hard it is to be live and to balance and write a scorecard and write tweets about what's happening and watch all the action without missing it. You know what I mean? That enough. So CompuBox to me is like a guide. It's like, it's pretty good. It's pretty effective. A lot of fights they are telling, but not every fight. Not every fight to me is going to be CompuBox reliable, if you will. And that's because there's certain things like first of all, again, I don't even know who CompuBox is. Like, I know what it is, but I don't know who's behind it. I don't know who's calculating this. So different people see different things. That's apparent. Some people even think Danny Garcia beat Keith Thurman. I didn't see that. I had Keith Thurman winning. Some people thought Lamont Peterson beat Danny Garcia, right? So it's just like different people's eyes see different things. So how do you calculate punches like in the midst of it when guys are like having wars and some shots, some guys evading and then he slips it or his gloves partially block it. You know what I mean? It's hard to rely on a CompuBox in a scrappy fight. Like if it's a clean fight where people are just like jab, right hook, left hook, jab, jab, go to the body. Like, okay, you can you can get a feel for what's going on because of the pace of the fight. I mean, it's easy, or one person's working or whatever. But in this type of fight, I don't think it's CompuBox reliable because some of the punches, like let's say Jacobs or Golovkin threw, might have been partially blocked, but CompuBox might say that was a landed punch. But to me, that's not really. I watch boxing, and if somebody like here's the perfect example is Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather does some shit in there where when Floyd is against the ropes, it looks like Cotto's like getting busy on him. Like I remember people in the crowd, Miguel Cotto, Wepa. You know what I mean? The crowd's going crazy. And me, to a trained eye, Cotto wasn't doing shit. Because you slow it down, like Conceited said, slow it down, I just dished you. You slow it down and then you watch and you're like, damn, slipped, missed, glove, that one landed, blocked, dipped, you know what I'm saying? And it's like Cotto wasn't even landed. He's like letting his hands go like, I mean, Gil Cotto, you know, and it looks good, but you slow it down and it's not really what it looks like, you know what I'm saying? So it's, to me, it's hard to rely on CompuBox all the time. Right? Because I've seen fights where guys won the CompuBox and still lost the fight too. So you know what I'm saying? So it gets tricky. The ride gets tricky. That's just what I'm gonna say. But this is the thing with the good for Daniel Jacobs is even in this quote unquote loss, I don't think he really lost. He gained new fans. He did what people thought he couldn't do. He boxed a smart fight. He didn't get demolished like people were saying. I even asked Daniel Jacobs this after the fight. I said people kept bringing up the Dmitry Pirog fight and saying this and that, and you have a suspect chin. And again, his stock doesn't drop because he gave Golovkin by far the toughest fight. A lot of people thought he beat Golovkin, and he stood up to Golovkin. And this is, some of you guys aren't going to understand this because you don't know shit about boxing, but if you consider, like, I would say this, then, and listen to what I'm saying carefully. He embarrassed Golovkin in the sense of who Golovkin has been built up to be. And the reason I say that is because there were times where Golovkin would hit him with some good shots, and he would take a stand and then rally back like bop, bop, and hit him with the hook and just be like, yeah, come on, and have that bravado. So that happens in a fight. So under normal circumstances, it's not embarrassing. You know what I mean? Because it's just two guys trading. But who Golovkin is supposed to be, you're not supposed to eat Golovkin shots, right? And just be cool and be like, so that I call it mad dogging. I don't know what you guys call it, but that mad dogging and that bravado, like, yeah, come on, son, like that makes it look bad because you're not supposed to be able to do that to Golovkin, right? He's the boogeyman. He's the big bad wolf. And to me, that's a psychological thing too, because Golovkin, I mean, guys, when's the last time you even seen anybody showboat with Golovkin? You know what I mean? And if they did, they got knocked out because he knocked out his last 23 opponents. So, you know what I mean? I think that in itself took a piece of Golovkin's confidence a little bit because, you know what I mean? Like, let's say Curtis Stevens. Curtis Stevens had done that, you know what I mean? The New York trash talk and I'm from Brownsville and put Golovkin in the casket. He was doing all these memes and rest in peace Golovkin. He was doing all this extra stuff, right? But when the fight came, he got stopped by him, so it doesn't matter. But Jacobs did that and successfully broke your knockout streak, so it's a little bit different. So to me, I don't think Jacobs, even though he has a second loss, a lot of people, read the comments. It's not even just me. A lot of people think Jacobs won. And the bottom line is this, and I'm going to be so upfront in this video, like I always am. That was not Golovkin's superior performance. You know what I mean? It was a good, and I'm not saying it wasn't good. He put up a good fight, but I'm really going off of the notion of who he's supposed to be. Who he's supposed to be and who HBO said he was. People are saying he's pound for pound and he's a known knockout artist, and Jacobs is getting knocked out and demolished. You're supposed to get this guy out of here. Let them tell it. But it is what it is. And see, this is the thing. I'm gonna go in on this one. People are like, oh, you're being harsh. And even some guy in the media, he said this to Team Triple G. He said it's an impossible standard that Golovkin is held to, that he can knock everybody out, and that's just not realistic. It's not an impossible standard, and I'm gonna tell you why. It is an impossible standard, but Team Golovkin seems to put out these notions that Golovkin can knock everybody out and nobody can deal with them. So all of that, oh, it's an impossible standard. No, of course, I'm not going to have mercy on it now because of what Team Golovkin has said, what they have put out there. You open those floodgates when you do that, when you say those things. When, like, for example, you guys, I know some of y'all paid, yeah, you hate Golovkin, man, and you're going to play dumb. So let me break it down for you. Abel Sanchez is the biggest advocate for what Golovkin can do. Golovkin himself is pretty humble. He doesn't really talk much, but his mouthpiece, aka his trainer, just like Freddie Roach and Pacquiao, that tandem, it's very similar, where the trainer is almost in essence a promoter as well, because they're the ones doing most of the interviews and most of the quotables in the highlight headlines that are like shocking or whatever are coming from the trainer, just like Freddie Roach with Pacquiao. Pacquiao, he's not, you know what I mean, he's like, it's up to my promoter, you know what I mean, he's pretty chill about it. But Freddie Roach was like, yeah, we're gonna knock this guy out. Like, it's just crazy. It's like I'm betting my house and Pacquiao's gonna knock Bradley out. So it's really, like I said, Will Smith and concussion. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. It's okay to promote your fighter. It's okay to build up your fighter. But at times, these trainers, they bite off more than they could chew, and they put an unfair pressure. Because you tell me Pacquiao is going to knock out Marquez in the third fight, and I thought he lost that fight. You say he's going to knock him out, and this is the end-all be-all in the fourth fight, and it was a good fight, but Pacquiao got knocked out. You know what I mean? You say he's going to knock out Bradley, and he doesn't do that in multiple fights. Then you put him to this standard. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Abel Sanchez and Golovkin. Abel Sanchez has said he's a cool dude. He said some wild things, though. He said that Golovkin has so much power, nobody from 54 to 68 can withstand his power. He just did a headline. I did a video about it. You guys could do your research. Just treat this like politics. You know what I'm saying? If this ain't gospel, if this ain't true, get your fact checkers and tell me how it's not true. And I can produce the articles or the videos I've made and the sources, and we'll do a bibliography, and you know what I mean? We can go toe to toe like Evander and Bo, you know what I mean? And Abel also said recently, what did he say? That Golovkin will beat Andre Ward, beat Sergey Kovalev, and Adonis Stevenson at 175. You know what I mean? And probably by stoppage, you know what I mean? And then the first time he fights a guy who is bigger than him, with power, who can box, now all of a sudden his knockout streak is broken. So you did this, you know what I'm saying? Team Golovkin did this. So of course I'm not gonna have mercy, like, oh, it's an impossible standard. If it was such an impossible standard, you shouldn't have said it. And like I said, tell the truth. Tell the truth. I told y'all, too many of y'all believe anything you hear and how these fighters are built up without what you see with your own two eyes. You just recycle information. Like, oh, Dimitri Perot, he's gonna get embarrassed, he's gonna get destroyed, murdered. Y'all just believe anything you hear. That boom, 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 doom, 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 doom. And start going crazy. That's why you get on my channel, you get that real. Like, I'm not a promoter. I'm not obligated to any one side or any network or whatever. I give it to you real, and that's what you get. And that's why you get fair breakdowns and stuff like that. I've always maintained that Golovkin is a good fighter, but I've also talked about things that I think could beat him and stuff. And one of the things that I said is, if you back Golovkin up, this is beyond just speculation at this point. Before, since he had been knocking out everybody still, it was still more in the speculation category, because even though it was effective in spots and I noticed it, I didn't see anyone go the distance with him. So it's just like, whatever, right? But now it's beyond just a theory. This is actual fact. Golovkin, one of the biggest things I see in his fight game in terms of weaknesses is he can't fight off the back foot, right? He just simply can't. Like, if you push him back and keep pushing him back, he almost freezes. And if you're throwing punches and he has to respect your power, then he almost is frozen in the moment until you get off, until you stop it. You know what I mean? It's like, I've always learned in boxing, don't take turns. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to just like catch and shoot, catch, block. Obviously, you don't want to get hit with none of that, but then counter in the middle of that. And a person who does that effortlessly and fearlessly is Danny Garcia. He's good with the timing, and he'll catch you in the exchange while you're throwing your shit, right? I haven't seen that with Golovkin in all these fights. It's like, if you can push him back with stuff he respects, like if you're Willie Monroe, and you're no shade or whatever, but if he doesn't respect your power, then maybe he'll throw with you or maybe take a chance. I'm talking about if you have power that he has to respect, he kind of lets you finish and get your load off, and then he stops blocking, and then he'll start the attack and still push you back. You know what I mean? But he's not good off the back foot. He can't fight off the back foot, and even in the inside, he doesn't know what he's doing in there. Like, you look at prime inside fighters, like let's say a Canelo Alvarez, and if you're on the inside with Canelo, he'll murder you. It's just, I was born red. You know what I mean? He's gonna hit you with some uppercuts, body shots, and he's at home there. But I don't feel like Golovkin is at home there. I feel like he's a mid to an outranged boxer who likes to dictate the pace. And I know it sounds cliche, because what fighter wouldn't want to dictate the pace? However, even if someone is pushing a different pace than they want, like Floyd Mayweather, he could still make the adjustments to fight off the back foot, or he could come forward. I've seen plenty of fights where people are stupid and they don't know boxing. They know love and hate. You know what I'm saying? They hate Floyd, or they have the notion that they hate him for whatever reason, so they're not going to intelligently break anything down. It's just going to be like, oh, he sucks, he ran. You know what I mean? But I watch boxing. I break down the sweet science, and I break down the sport. I've seen Floyd walk guys down, even Canelo, bigger guys, walk them down. But then I've seen him where he's on the back foot. Like, let's say the Guerrero fight, he's fighting off the back foot and countering. You know what I mean? I haven't seen that completeness with Golovkin's arsenal. I've seen he's almost one mode. He's straight ahead. Now, the good for Golovkin is that dude got a man-style chin, because he took some shots from Jacobs and he never seemed to be like rattled or really out of it, or like queer street. So I told you guys, I believe he has a chin, but I haven't seen him in there with the puncher. I know that he has a chin now. Other thing that Golovkin does well, and see, this is, you notice on my channel, you're getting the actual breakdown. It's not like fanboyism. I'm really telling you what I see, like my observations, good or bad. Golovkin, another thing he does very well with in regards to having a chin is he tucks his chin. He tucks it well, like, and it lessens the impact. Like a guy like Ruslan, when he's getting hit by like Matisse in that fight, it looks bad. Like, it looks worse probably because he's like just absolutely no defense. And I don't think Golovkin has a great defense, but he does little subtle things to, like, you know what I mean, as he's blocking and tucking his chin and stuff, so it doesn't look like his head at all times is getting, like, Ruslan Provodnikov looks like a bobblehead, like in those first 2 rounds with Matisse, stuff like that. So Golovkin does tuck his chin well, and he definitely has a chin. And then, he's like, both fighters, this is the good for both fighters to me. They both showed a massive amount of heart. They're both punchers. One guy was bigger, and they're both bringing it, and they both, like, had the eagerness and the drive and wanted to win this one. I got that. There was no spot at either the fight where I thought either guy just was out of it. He did not want to win. You know what I'm saying? And that means a lot, because this is the highest of platforms. You're on a pay-per-view. You're at Madison Square Garden, almost 20,000 people, and you put it all on the line. So I do have much respect for how they both performed. I thought they looked good. But let's talk about the knockdown. He got knocked down, and surprisingly, when it first happened, I thought he was more hurt than what he was. But then I watched it back, and I think he just got caught in transition and got caught with a good shot. And Golovkin landed, I think it was 2 punches, and then kind of his forward momentum helped push him all the way down. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to say it was a push, because it was 2 cleanly landed shots, and Golovkin has power, and he connected those shots good. But I think it was the whole, I think that plus because you see, it looked like Jacobs, as he was falling, it looked like he was trying to grab the ropes or something. You know what I mean? His instinct. And then plus Golovkin's forward motion, he couldn't keep his balance up. But when it first happened, I was like, oh shit, his legs are buckled. But I think he took the shot very well. And that's impressive coming from, so that's another good for quote unquote suspect chin Daniel Jacobs. Because that's what all y'all was talking about. And it's so funny to me, because all of this stuff, the first looks and my previous videos, I told you this is the toughest test for Golovkin. There's no cakewalk. And it's so funny because I can instantly talk boxing with people for usually short period of time, and I can tell who knows their shit and who doesn't because of what you bring up. If all of your points that you're bringing up is recycled bullshit, like on some Captain America shit, and it's just stuff that is just floating around that I know everybody is saying, that's a pretty good indication that you don't know your boxing. Because I know even in this video, I'm not trying to toot my own horn and gloat, but I bring up stuff that, and analogies and like little nuances that I've noticed that it's not necessarily a popular opinion or what everyone's talking about, but a lot of people just bring up the same shit. Oh, but Danny Jacobs, he got knocked out by Demetrius Pirog. Okay, true. But what about the beloved Manny Pacquiao? Right? He got knocked out twice early in his career. But you know what? This is boxing. And when Pacquiao had his run, when he was knocking out everybody, the De La Hoya, and he was fighting David Diaz, and he was knocking out Hatton and stuff like that, he looked like a completely different fighter. So you can go against him and bet against him based on the Rustico Torrecampo and those early knockouts, or you can look at the man that's in front of you right now today. Again, the Dmitry Pirog fight, Jacobs was younger. You know what I mean? And when you're younger, who knows? Maybe, what if he was partying, he wasn't used to the superstar life, and he wasn't taking his career as serious. In addition, he underestimated Dmitry Pirog, who wasn't a known commodity in the States, and this and that. You know what I'm saying? You never know what happened back then. And that's, again, what I was telling you guys. You guys didn't want to listen. The Pirog fight, since that, what has happened? He knocked out like 12, 14 people in a row. He knocked out Quillen. He beat cancer. Like those are life-altering circumstances and situations that he had not experienced at the time of the Pirog fight. And it did look like battling cancer and just having a newfound appreciation for life, and obviously the confidence of beating an undefeated big puncher in Peter Quillen. It shows that those experiences catapulted him, and he was a reinvented fighter. Now, if he got knocked out, I mean, I could do this all day. Sergio Martinez, he got knocked out. Yeah, no one even talks about this. Antonio Margarito knocked him out. But guess what? That was early in his career, and he faced a guy who was way more seasoned and far along in his career than him. And that was Antonio Margarito. Sergio Martinez started boxing. Sergio Matavia is one of my favorites, so I know these little facts. But he started boxing late. He started boxing like 21, 22. He was like a bicyclist and soccer player and stuff in Argentina. And he started boxing late. So he did not have the experience where he should have been in there with Antonio Margarito looking back, because that's why he got stopped. But what happened after that? He got better. He stayed focused, and he started fighting Kermit Cintron. I thought he won that fight. He gave a war to Paul Williams. Then he came back and knocked out Paul Williams. Then he beat a very heavy-handed Kelly Pavlik, right? So you got to look at the man that you see in front of you. You can easily say, oh, but hey, like, you know what I mean? If you're Matthew Macklin or Darren Barker, oh, Sergio ain't shit. Antonio Margarito knocked him out all these years ago. Yeah, but guess what? Since that time, he's beat the strong-ass Kelly Pavlik, and he's not looking like the same guy. He stretched Paul Williams and stuff. You know what I'm saying? He's looking like he stayed his course. So it'd be one thing if Danny Jacobs was continually getting knocked out and still getting knocked out. And the other thing with the Sergio Mora thing, again, this is how I know who knows boxing. You guys bring up the same dumb points, the recycled shit. Oh, but if Sergio Mora can knock him out or knock him down, then Golovkin's definitely. You don't know what you're talking about, because the Sergio Mora, it was very apparent what happened there, and the rematch showed you that. Danny Jacobs, I don't know if they had some bad blood before, but I think maybe they did. Maybe some trash talk or whatever. Danny Jacobs hurt Sergio Mora, knocked him down, and he was so eager to get him out of there that he threw caution to the wind, and that he was reckless. And what do they say in boxing? The punches you don't see are the ones that hurt you. He completely put his defense and his actual boxing experience to the side to try to hurt this man, and he got caught off balance, stalking squared up, and he went down. You will go down. You could be Paulie Malignaggi. Paulie Malignaggi will knock you down if you're in the wrong position at the right time, squared up, legs, you know what I mean, wide. You know what I mean, you're gonna get knocked down. Anybody, if you're not in the right position to keep your balance, period. That's what that was. The rematch showed you that, because he knocked down Sergio Mora a gang of times again in the rematch and stopped him. Completely different. You know what I mean? Like, people bringing that up. You think Jacobs is going in there with this nefarious puncher, and he's gonna, if he has him hurt, he's gonna have the same mentality that he brings in. That's what you guys don't understand, the mind of these fighters. What one fighter does in fight A doesn't necessarily indicate that's what he's going to do in another fight, because using that logic, why did he beat Peter Quillen, who was a way bigger puncher? He knocked him out in the first round, right? And Peter Quillen never hurt Jacobs because he didn't even have a chance. And Quillen is a way bigger puncher than Sergio Mora. So you got to look at each fight on a case-by-case basis, right? He made a mistake and he paid for it in the Sergio Mora. I don't think he was really buckled. I don't think he was really hurt. But that's the dumb shit y'all bring up. Oh, yeah, Sergio Mora. Because another much bigger puncher knocked him down once, but did not finish him, right? And that was Gennady Golovkin. So I think that was fuel for him, the Dmitry Pirog fight and all the criticism. And again, I asked him that post-fight. So I don't know, man. It was a good fight. I did give it to Jacobs. I thought he was busier, and what I mean by busier, I thought he was more effective, and he was pushing his target back. And then the second half, the flow of it, to me, was more of like what Danny Jacobs was doing. Like the thing, another good for Golovkin is, I think Golovkin has a very good jab. And he showed you that, because Jacobs really, to me, never found an answer for the jab. And some of those rounds were close because of that. But I like the variety of punches from Daniel Jacobs. He was going upstairs, downstairs. He was pushing Golovkin back where Golovkin would freeze temporarily. and he would just block, and just try to catch punches. And there were certain sequences, like watch the 11th round. I think Golovkin hit him with the partial shot, and then Jacobs ripped him with like 2 big ass shots and a big ass hook, and Golovkin's head flying all crazy. And I also like the mad dogging that Jacobs was doing to let Golovkin know, like, yeah, you knocked me down, but it ain't sweet. And you guys in boxing really have to understand how scoring works in the sense of you can fight back and win even based on a knockdown. You know what I'm saying? Because I just told you at the beginning of this video, in my opinion, Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez won the fight. I told you that. You know what I mean? So there's no like hidden agenda or whatever you want to call, right? I told you I believe Chocolatito won, as do a lot of people, but he got knocked down in that fight. But he still won it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's funny how the fans work. Oh no, the knockdown is why Jacobs lost. Okay, why did you say Chocolatito won the bout just before it? Because of the other work he was doing. So again, one knockdown, Andre Ward, Kovalev, Chocolatito, Jacobs, Triple G. One knockdown doesn't determine the outcome. That's 1 10-8 round, and you could still win. You know what I'm saying? The more knockdowns you get, the harder it is, the harder the deficit it is to climb up out of there. But it was one knockdown, just like Chocolatito, and I still had Chocolatito winning, even though they didn't give it to him. And a lot of people feel that same way. So you can come back from a one knockdown, right? And arguably Chocolatito might have been more rattled than Jacobs was, in my opinion, after watching them both back and seeing them live. So overall, it was a very fun fight. I do think, I guess for Jacobs, the bad I would say is there were certain moments that, and I don't know, maybe it's a stamina thing, because I noticed they were both breathing hard. They both pushed each other, trust me. But Golovkin has a good poker face too. The thing I was gonna say is, I guess one of the bad for Danny Jacobs is I seen there were definitive moments where he was having a lot of success, and then he would let off the gas, and those exchanges or those sequences perhaps made the fight closer. Another bad is I didn't think it was a unanimous decision by any stretch. I definitely don't. I don't know why they had it a clean unanimous decision. I don't think that fight was, because I don't think it was like a clean. I think there was, like I said, it was close. There was close moments or whatever, but there were certain points. I can't think of the exact round numbers, but Jacobs was doing great work and he was pushing his target back, and then he started allowing Golovkin to jab and keep coming forward, and he stayed on the ropes too long in certain spots. I thought he should have dug to the body more. Stop that stalking stuff that Golovkin is doing. And he clearly has power, and it's clearly power that Golovkin respects, as he noted at the post-fight press conference, right? And I think he should have went to the body more, stayed off the ropes a bit more. And when he was having those successes, just keep pushing forward. Again, I'm telling you guys, if Golovkin respects your power and knows he has to respect your power, then it's a different fight if you can box and you can be smart, because you have to be smart. If he doesn't respect you, he's probably going to walk all over you and overwhelm you. But I told people, this is the funny thing on the on past videos. Golovkin is just a man. He's not invincible. He's a good fighter, very good, skilled more offensively. He does little subtle things defensively, but I would never say he has a great defense. When I think of great defense, that would be disrespectful, because I think of great defenses. I think of obviously Floyd Mayweather, Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker, and Willie Pep. And to put Golovkin's defense in there would be blasphemous. It's not a Ruslan Provodnikov defense, but it's definitely not a highly trained, impeccable defense, if you will, right? He does a little good blocking and stuff like that occasionally, but the head movement lacks to me. And I think part of his defense is the fact that he's a big puncher, and people realize that, so they don't want to bite off too much, you know what I'm saying, because he's a good counter puncher as well. So part of Golovkin's defense to me is the fact that people know they can't chump him. He's still dangerous. You know what I mean? So you don't want to and just start throwing a million punches. So you have to let off the gas at some point. You know what I mean? But I thought there were certain moments where Danny Jacobs could have kept pressing, keep pushing it back, keep pushing it back. And I've said this for the longest time. Oscar De La Hoya also said it, and it's so true. He can't fight off the back foot. There's certain people that can. See, when I think of a real high-level complete fighter like a Floyd Mayweather, he could do it all. He can outspeed you like he did with whoever, Marquez. But then guys who are faster than him or just as fast like Zab Judah, he can go to the body. He could walk you down. He can fight off the back foot. In the same fight, he could do both. Watch the Canelo fight. He stood his ground and walked Canelo down and had Canelo's back against the rope and was like fucking Canelo up with this sweeping right hand. And then he stuck him to the body, and then he was hooking him. Like, he was embarrassing him. So he fought off the ropes. These are things I haven't seen Golovkin do, and I've been telling you that. Watch the Maidana fight with Floyd. Floyd's on the ropes, fighting off the ropes, and he's throwing back. Even the Curtis Stevens, David Lemieux. David Lemieux has all that power. Curtis Stevens has all that power. The reason Curtis Stevens got knocked out is because he was attempting to exchange hook with the hooker and throw when he's throwing. But when I watch Golovkin, I really genuinely don't see that. I don't see him exchanging when you're exchanging when you have power. So some people are going to get mad, but I'm giving, if Canelo looks good in the Chavez fight with the new weight, he has a serious shot to beat Golovkin. Now, it's not an easy fight because, you know what I mean, you've seen Jacobs, who's much bigger than, I don't know, he just has a big frame and he got knocked down. And Canelo's new to the weight, but just the way the style Canelo fights, the inside, and I think Golovkin's deficiencies in the inside. If Canelo has a good enough beard and can withstand the power like Jacobs did, then that's the fight's getting closer and closer. I might have to switch from, my pick has always been Golovkin would beat Canelo, but I'm telling you, it's getting closer and closer. So I told you I was going to watch Golovkin-Jacobs fight and then Canelo-Chavez, and depending on that, that was most likely going to determine who I'd be leaning towards. So, I mean, we got to look at it because Chavez Jr. does have a shot to beat Canelo to me. So, but if Canelo looks great or stops Chavez, then whoa, it's a different fight. But both fighters fought their heart out. I was fortunate and very glad that I was able to cover it live. And that's just, I mean, I gave you guys at least 30 minutes here breaking down this fight. It was a good fight. I don't think Golovkin's stock under normal circumstances would drop, but under the circumstances that he's built, I think they did drop. You know what I mean? And that might sound harsh, but there's a reason behind it, because there's a machine, there's a vehicle behind Golovkin, right? HBO. I was there live, so I would hate to even hear what HBO said on the commentary. They were probably making it sound like it was a one-sided Golovkin beatdown or something, and that clearly wasn't the case. I was there live just like HBO, right? And I know how to break down fights, but I don't even want to hear what the HBO commentary, aside from Roy Jones Jr., had to even say, because it was probably something that's like far-fetched. And I mean, the bottom line, I think two of their stars that they've heavily built, Chocolatito and Golovkin, kind of took a hit for what they've been billed as. You know what I mean? You're saying they're pound for pound number 1 and 2. This is supposed to be easy, right? You were supposed to make Jacobs look like mincemeat. He's been stopped. That's what everyone was saying. He was the 8-1 underdog or whatever the situation is. So a lot of people, it's an extreme standard. No, it isn't. This is a standard that they've set forth. HBO, Abel Sanchez, this is the standard that they said he was. You know what I mean? And to me, is no coinky dink that you put an able-bodied man in there with Golovkin. This is just exactly what I've been telling you guys. You put somebody able-bodied in there with Golovkin that has the right ingredients, and all of a sudden, it's Golovkin's toughest fight. I told you, I don't believe that Clark Kent Superman bullshit, where there's just one fighter and all of a sudden nobody can beat them. Like, it's not even that nobody could beat them. Nobody can give them a competitive fight. That's virtually impossible given the right talent. You know what I'm saying? So it's very apparent why Golovkin and team did not want to fight Andre Ward. Very apparent. Because look at that. It would have been at another weight deficit. Kovalev didn't stop Andre Ward at 75, and that was only his third fight at 175. You know what I mean? So you mean Golovkin will? And the way Ward has this rugged style where he'll clinch, he'll make you uncomfortable, he'll smother you on the inside. That fight would be so ugly for Golovkin. Trust me on this one. Unless they did what they wanted to do and fight him on at a catch weight and he was drained or something. But it's very apparent. You put Golovkin in there, he's immortal, just like he bleeds, just like anybody else. He's tough as fuck. He has a chin. He's a good fighter, but he's not this Superman that they were making him out there. Oh, 23 knockout. Yeah, it's because of who he fought, period. Mike Tyson, same thing. You look at his first, when he turned pro, he knocked almost all them dudes out. But it's who he was facing. He didn't fight anyone with the ingredient. You know what I mean? But once he started fighting up in the ante and fighting world renowned, like, you know what I mean, Holyfields and guys who've been to the Olympics, it's a different ballgame. I'm telling you. Marcos Maidana in Argentina, limited competition, he was knocking everybody out. What happens when he fought Eric Morales, a tough Mexican fighter with experience? Morales' eye was nailed shut, and he still was in there, still went the distance, right? What happened when he fought Broner? He hurt him, but Maidana couldn't finish Broner. Because when you start fighting the best competition from around the world, Keith Thurman, look at him. He was knocking out Soto Carras's and stuff. Then he started fighting Danny Garcia's, Bundu, you know what I mean, from Italy and shit, Olympian. He's not knocking all them guys out now. It's how the game goes. And people were acting like Golovkin, no, he's going to knock everyone out regardless. No. When you put an able body with the certain attributes, like I told you, you can't just be tall like Ishida. You know what I mean? Gabe Rosado, that was their first fight at 160. They were 154 pounders. So if he didn't respect their power, the height, and they don't even necessarily fight tall. You know what I mean? But you got someone like Jacobs who is tall but also has cracks. It's a different fight. You've seen Golovkin becoming more educated, and I don't know what else there is to say about it. You know what I mean? Golovkin, he deserves credit because he's smarter than, he's not this Mexican style or whatever that Abel was making him out to be, period. It's not, because every single time he fights a notorious puncher, he fights with some sense. He's not just going in like Mexican style or the fighters that are just brawlers. No matter what, their identity does not change, right? Like Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. I don't care who the fuck has been in front of him. That's why this fight with Canelo might even be more dangerous than Triple G versus Canelo. Because no matter who you put Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. in there with, he has the same DNA. Andy Lee got cracks, and he kept coming forward. Fonfara was 173 pounds. He's a light heavyweight. And Chavez was on a 15-month layoff, came back and fought him. He still was trying to come forward. You know what I mean? Brian Vera, his identity is not changing like that. He still has the same makeup. Golovkin's not doing that. He has some sense. He gets in there with Lemieux and the guy he knows has power, or Jacobs, and then he's not fighting all, give me free, yeah, big drama show, yeah, punch me in the face for the fat. He's not doing that. And there's a reason, because he knows better. And that's good. It's just not who he's been billed as. It's not this whole Mexican style and big drama. Okay, big drama with Jacobs and just being the inside phone booth all day. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to do that. And it's smart to not do that, but that's not who they said you were. I don't know if you guys get the parallel of what I'm trying to say. Good fighter, but he's not all of what was been advertised in terms of the 23 knockouts. Now, I give him props for knocking out 23 guys, because that's not you still have to have technique and style and power to pull that off. even if because you know me, you were fighting top 10, top 15 guys. It's just your division wasn't stacked. But again, it's no mystery to me that the moment you put him in there with somebody who has certain intangibles that he has to respect, an amateur background, some boxing ring IQ, power you have to respect, a height advantage, good rehydration weight, it's not the same. And just lastly, and I'm out of here, is people keep talking about, oh, but Jacobs, he came in and missed weight. First of all, he didn't miss weight. The IBF is the only one that forces you to, with their belt, to do the same day weigh-in. It's his prerogative if he wants to compete for the IBF belt, or if he wants to be able to not wake up at 6 a.m. like he said. That's when the weigh-in was. He would have to wake up at 6 a.m. on fight night, right, and go weigh in somewhere and make weight or whatever. So it's his prerogative if he doesn't want to do that, and he's down to not be eligible for that one belt, because again, he's allowing his body, it's a good strategy, he's allowing his body to naturally rehydrate to whatever it does without being met with a threshold, and he gets to come in comfortable, plus not have to wake up earlier and get up and he can just focus on the fight night. So that's nothing. And the funny thing is, like I said, if Golovkin is what he's supposed to be, pound for pound and all this, how many times have we seen Floyd Mayweather fight much bigger guys that rehydrated much bigger, right? Victor Ortiz, Marcos Maidana, especially in the first fight, Canelo Alvarez, Diego Corrales, 6-footer. Floyd's always fought De La Hoya, he's kept Cotto at 54. He's continually fought bigger guys, and some of those were his best performances. The Gotti performance, I think Gotti might have been a bit bigger than him at the time. Corrales, De La Hoya, he started kicking up in the second half. Cotto, Maidana, those are some of his best. Canelo, those are some of his best performances. So I don't want to hear this. If you're elite, you're elite. The guy made weight just like normal, and rehydration is just something throughout boxing that people use as a strategy. Some people get higher. Put what do you think the Victor Ortiz Mayweather fight would look like if they both came in and rehydrated to, let's say, 153? Guys need that size advantage versus Mayweather to even make it more comfortable, because they're like naturally bigger than him. But you think Victor Ortiz will beat, if he just rehydrates to 153 and Mayweather rehydrates to 153, you think he'll beat him? You know what I'm saying? He couldn't even beat him with the 16, 17-pound functional weight advantage. So I don't want to hear that. It's a cop-out, it's an excuse. Jacobs had a good strategy. It looked like he had a good camp. He made weight. He rehydrated, period. Terrence Crawford versus Gamboa. Crawford rehydrated to 155, and Gamboa was giving him work. Even though he ended up getting stopped. I've seen Badu Jack, if you really know your boxing, he fought a guy, I forgot his name, but it was on the undercard. This was maybe before he became champion. The guy rehydrated literally like 30 pounds. It was something ridiculous, and Badu Jack stopped him. So, rehydration is just, it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think. The Realeast breakdown, great fight, good fighters in the fight. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm so glad I came out here to cover it live, and those are my thoughts. Those are my complete thoughts. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.